following thoughts, opinions, stories, and expressions are meant for those who will appreciate them. If you don't, we hope you keep an open soul to encounter another here on 34 Questions. Peace. Go. In 3, 2, 1. What's going on, folks? Welcome to 34 Questions. I'm your host, 34, and tonight I have a very special guest. Miss Carrie is in the building. How you doing tonight, Miss Carrie?
I'm good. Long day of teaching and ready to just hang and chill.
I got you. Yeah,
How have you been since being a great teaching assistant?
I've been tired, to be honest, in a good way. Been really busy at my job, and it's been trying to build up an after-school program from the ground up after COVID. So it's been an interesting journey. I've been given a lot of freedom to be myself, which I really appreciate, and just kind of like do my thing. So in doing that, I just feel like I'm 110% myself all the time, and I see it working, but it does get tiring. What work doesn't get tiring, but yeah, I've been having a lot of fun, Miss Carrie, so thank you for asking.
Sure, yeah, that sounds great.
Thank you again for stopping by and making time for this. I know we had one scheduled in the past. Things happen, and I'm just glad that we can connect now, so thank you again.
We're in between dentist appointments, so it's a good time. Yeah.
I got you. And for the folks out there who are unfamiliar with the flow of the show, we do some intro questions, some warm-up questions just to set the tone. After that, we'll jump into a couple icebreakers. After the icebreakers, we'll turn to the Wheel of Fate. We'll give the wheel a spin, and whichever number it lands on, that's how the conversation flows. And then after all that, we'll finish out with some closeout questions. Sound good to you, Miss Carrie?
Let's do it.
All right. So
adjust my camera so I take up the full. Yes.
There you go. Yeah. Wherever you could feel comfortable. But yeah, my very first question for you in the warm-up is, how have you been? You've been doing well. You've been doing great. How you been lately?
I guess I'd say I'm fine. Fine.
Yeah.
You got a minute? No. Yeah, fine.
No, for sure. Like, say however you want to feel, or whatever you feel comfortable talking about.
I'm just saying, like, I could complain or not complain for days. So
I feel you. I want to say congratulations to you. I know that you got to the next level of career-wise, education-wise.
Yeah,
right?
I am no longer an intern teacher. I'm a honest to God teacher. No, I mean, I got preliminary credential instead of intern. So, got a pay bump and finished my master's degree. So, like, I've been outside, and I could hang out with teacher Alicia instead of going home to do homework or procrastinating homework that I know I had to do but didn't.
So are you totally done with schooling, or are you still going to be?
Yes, I'm so done. I don't even care. Like, you couldn't need to go back, honestly. Like, I hate school, and that's why I teach.
I was going to ask you, that was going to be another question, was I don't think I ever asked you what got you into teaching, and like why you chose this path than other ones.
I have to admit, I hated high school. I loved school. It was always like straight A's, easy peasy, pretty smart kid. And then I got into like 9th grade is when things started like kind of slipping for me. And it was due to, we can get into it, but like medical issue I have, which I'm happy to, ask me all about. But because of that, just shit got real. And am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, absolutely. Be yourself. Cool. Be yourself.
Okay, yeah. So I was just like, this sucks, like everybody's like, oh, you need to get your grades up so you can go to college. And I was like, how the fuck am I going to go to college if I can't even go to high school, So I think I was really just like disgruntled with it. And I was like failing classes. And I had one teacher, my history teacher, Mrs. Marsh, in 10th grade, because I only went to high school up until 10th grade. And then I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to get my GED because I didn't have enough credits to like stay on track to graduate with my peers. You know, they were saying, well, you could still finish, you know, but you'd be about 2 years behind. And I said, nah. Which a lot of students that we have are on that route. And I'm just like, you got this, come on. Never will they know that I was like, fucking, I'm getting a GED. So yeah, researched it, got a GED, and then started community college when I was like 17. But it was tough because I didn't really know what I was doing. Anyway, the point, why did I get into teaching is that I just realized it's not that serious, you know, like who cares? Like, hey, I just finished my master's degree and I got a GED, you know, so I just like letting kids that have also experienced, you know, some issues in their past or currently that it's not that serious. Just show up, get the diploma, and then live the rest of your life. So.
I got you. Well, I do think you're a great teacher. You know, just caring. I mean, I know the kids you work with aren't the easiest, and just to show up, even, you know, you tell these kids to show up, get that diploma, but even for yourself, you know, just showing up and being there. I know it doesn't always seem like you're making a difference, but I want to believe that you are, and maybe one day the kids can tell you that themselves when they get older. But yeah, thank you for the great work that you do. That's all I wanted to say.
Of course, yeah. I don't know what else I would do. I feel like, I mean, to me, teaching is just a lot of stand-up, but and then also like crowd control. So I feel like I could also be like a bouncer at a club or like a comedian if I ever wanted to get out of teaching.
For sure, comedian. You know, I'm always laughing. I don't know if you ever noticed how much you made me laugh while I was there, but no, definitely. But it was always like, I think what made it funny was that it always felt like relatable, or it was always real too. You know, sometimes the real stuff is the funniest stuff. So yeah, you're good at pointing those things out, making a light joke about it. And I don't know, I think the kids find you entertaining as well. Maybe they just are like, oh, there she goes again. But I know, yeah. I know. Like,
yeah.
But I think a part of them really does appreciate it, because not a lot of teachers are like that all the time, you know? But yeah, thanks. No worries. So my second question for you in the warm-up is, what would you like the audience to know about you?
Well, oh, look, there's the little closed captioning in case I didn't hear it. I love it. That's great. What do I want the audience? I am me. I don't know, almost 45. Live in San Francisco with 4 other people. I'm a teacher. You know, we talked about that. Just living life.
For sure.
Living life. I'm single, FYI. So,
hey,
you know.
For all the single folks out there, you know.
Put my digits down in the closed captioning. Be like,
you let me know what you want me to put in the description, and hey, if you want me to, I'll do it.
Right.
You did mention a little bit earlier about like a medical condition that maybe you're
So I have bipolar disorder. I have what's called bipolar 2, which usually it's more like episodes of depression with like some episodes of hypomania, which isn't like full-blown mania. Mm-hmm. My mom had bipolar 1, which was more episodes of like mania. And so, I mean, I've been pretty well maintained on medication since, you know, maybe late high school. And then, no, I'd have to say well maintained since I stopped like smoking doobies and drinking. I realized that, okay, this is not helping my medicine work. So also, you know, when you hang out and you party and whatever, and then you wake up late, like you'll forget to take medicine, or, you know, if you go to bed drunk, you're not going to remember to take your medicine at night. So lots of that until finally I, you know, got sober, not like as I didn't feel like I had alcoholism or like an addiction. I just felt like I need to let this medicine do its job because I'm kind of a hot mess. This was like in my 20s. So, but yeah, I was diagnosed with it at like 14. I know at 12, I was having like a lot of like a lot of like other issues like eating disorder, and then a lot of like anxiety, and then depression. So I think my mom, because she had her own, healthcare she had to be mindful of, she kind of was looking out for it in me because it does tend to run in families. Her dad also, not diagnosed, but like his behaviors really, mirrored what, bipolar disorder is like. So, she was like, okay, let's, have you go to therapy and whatever and talk. And I actually was hospitalized for like a suicide attempt when I was 14. And really, I knew that me, like, trying to take too many pills, it was really me just saying like, this shit sucks and I need somebody to change it. So, I don't feel like I've ever been completely suicidal. It just would have been like, I don't know how else to ask for help, but like this, so, hey, I'm going to make it big and somebody's going to have to call an ambulance, and then I'm going to get locked up for a couple of days in this shitty, mental health institution. But I compliment Kaiser of Santa Clara. They're definitely like the Hilton of any behavioral health centers I've ever visited. So, I think like the onset of that made it very difficult for me to attend school regularly, pay attention, not fall asleep in class, due to like, medication needing to be adjusted. And also like, I think my experiences were a lot different than like, let's go to the football game or, let's go to prom. It's just like, I'm going to bring wine coolers to school and, get drunk because I hate life. And also I'm going to smoke cigarettes, which people did back in the day, The kids vape now. And I'm just like, that's weak. Come on, guys. But, so, I think life was happening, also just issues with my mom having a mental illness and, her choices in life and who she chose as partners. And, they were not great until my second stepdad, who is an angel and I guess is now an angel because my mom and him have passed recently. But he was awesome. So he was dad 2.0. All right.
No. Hey, thank you for sharing. I know it's, probably not the easiest thing for you to talk about. And I would have never known unless you opened up to me now. I don't think
honestly, I feel like I have no problem sharing. I have been worried in the past, like, oh, what if I'm going on a date and someone, then it's like, actually, fuck this. This is part of who I am. And also, I think it's important to like, get rid of the stigma of just like, it's just like if I had diabetes or something, like I take care of myself, I see a doctor regularly. And as long as I, look out for myself, there's no issues. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever told you, but from 12 to 18 for me was like, I called them my dark ages because I was a really depressed kid. And I don't know if it was, more than the normal teenage angst. I think that was one thing now that I look back on is like, maybe I could have searched for help. I was doing therapy, like, the free stuff at school. But it was always like, it never shook off the feeling of feeling depressed, like a feeling of unworthiness or like a feeling of like, I'm not doing enough in life or whatever. So it was a lot of that. And I just felt like I wasn't making a difference in the people or a positive effect on the people, like my parents, my friends. It just, for a long time, that's how I felt. I think I cried myself to sleep like 90% of the time during that time. And then it wasn't until I got into college where maybe a lot of my friends at the time were like, maybe all I needed was a change of scenery or a change of space, which helped a little bit. But I will say, as I get older, like those I can recognize when those dark moments kind of come up and kind of catch myself. And now I just feel like I've had enough experiences, with some psychedelics that help me kind of see the bigger picture most of the time, and it really does help me just stay focused on like, well, any insignificant thing that's coming up for me right now really is, it's a small little speck in like this whole thing in like the universe. So it keeps things in perspective for me. I think that's how I've dealt with it. I don't know if that's the healthiest way, but I think everybody has their own
whatever
path.
works for you. I always was like, oh my God, I had to like I've met a lot of people who microdose on like psilocybin, and it like really helps them, I guess. And so, I mean, my whole life I was like, I am not going to try any like heavy drugs or whatever. I don't want to trip or do anything like that, because already my mind is pretty alternative, so I'd like to not experience more alternativeness. So, but I totally have a new found appreciation for the fact that it doesn't always have to be like, from the pharmaceutical companies. But I mean, really what I believe is that your mental health actually is caused by your neurotransmitters and like the lack of them or the excess of them. I mean, everything is basically in your body. Just like, I brought up diabetes, like that is the lack of insulin that's in your body, so you have to do something to replace it. And whereas the symptoms of depression and what we consider depression itself is caused by, the body's inability to reuptake serotonin. So basically, your brain makes it, but the dendrites in your brain aren't picking up the messages, And then because of that, like the lack of serotonin can cause you to have decreased motivation, decreased energy, a lot of like just where you would normally feel like, okay. A lot of those lead to thoughts of like, unworthiness or, guilt or other things, like you're letting people down. And it's just amazing to me how it's somehow been thought of like madness or something like that, or crazy, when actually it's just you're lacking chemicals in your brain. And it's like all spelled out for anyone to see that in like a abnormal psychology class in college. So
is that something we can get tested for? Like if I was like, maybe I'm feeling that, I have some issue with my neurotransmitters, I can go to the doctor and be like, hey, can I get tested? Or
it's not that I mean, I know like you could probably get, I think an MRI and it would show activity in your brain, but it's not really something I think that like, yet they have a way of, actually quantifying.
I got you.
But I think just it's been to the point where like they've also studied brains after, people have passed, that it's like this certain gray matter and whatever, lacks, but it's definitely that there are just like really well-defined symptoms that they know are related to, because if you ever wanted to look into it, kids at home, you have, what adrenaline is, right? And, that causes certain feelings like, oh my God, I have to like get away from this. I'm super scared. So any of the neurotransmitters you have in your brain are there for certain reasons. Like one is kind of like, I think if it's norepinephrine or something, but like some of them make your body know, oh, hey, I'm full. I don't need to eat anymore. Or some of them will say, hey, move forward. Like you need to pick up your legs and your hands. I'm sorry. And if you're a monkey, pick up your feet and walk.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Hey, monkeys also. So, I mean, all of it's really brain chemistry and, sending messages to certain parts of the body. And a lot of that has to do with, how your brain is processing messages. So, anyway, I'm not like
fine.
a trained psychologist, but shit. And
you experienced it, yeah.
Several fucking years, yeah.
Yeah, you experienced it.
Right now I'm not pleased with my hair, but that's okay. I'm going to go forward in life. Yeah.
I got you. I mean, I can't wait till the day that discovery's made or whatever medical breakthrough, because I think that's going to change a lot of like, mental health, or teach us more about mental health and, how it affects us.
Definitely.
But let's move on to the second question to warm up, which is, if I were to do something in your honor, a way to express the energy you possess, what sort of act could I do?
If you were going to do something to honor me, like would I be dead already or something? Or
I don't ever want to put that out there, but I like to think of it as like you move far away, and like I thought, oh, it's Miss Carrie's birthday today. Maybe I should just do something because I miss her energy. Want to do something that could bring it back a little.
Wow, because once you say that, it made me think of like what I do to remember my dad. And I remember on a Father's Day, I went to Hooters and then went and shot guns. That was like what he did. So I guess, maybe go see Beyonce in my honor. I don't know if that's exactly, but, or maybe go see a drag show. That's a hard question. I'm going to have to wish that I had a better answer, but that's what I'm vibing with right now. So
I got you. I mean, a Beyonce show isn't a bad idea. So
absolutely.
Is she the top for you? Like top artist of all time? Or?
Yeah, she's just like the greatest entertainer that ever was alive. And just like, she's just, her whole, I mean, basically the latest album is fucking sick. It's got a lot of like, it's definitely for the gays, and I totally appreciate that. It's got a lot of like ballroom influence, and also, I don't know, it's just got like a lot of like, this is what it is, this is how it's gonna be. And then of course with her album Lemonade, it was like, you thought, but you fucked with the wrong bitch. So I just think, she started with Destiny's Child. It was like fun pop. But just every album moving forward is like, listen, motherfucker. Like, I've just been able to relate.
I got you. And I think a lot of people relate, right? She does bring that energy.
Yeah.
That I
but
think,
also being able to like dance your ass off and like flip your weave around and be sweaty and still sing perfect is like,
that's talent.
I think I wish that I was Beyonce, but let's face it, it's, a very far cry from, but I'm good being me.
For sure. You should be. And then my last question for you in the warm up is, on a scale from 1 to 10, how well do you know yourself?
I think a 10. I mean, I really know who I am. I know I've spent a lot of time in my head with myself, but yeah.
What would you say is your favorite thing about your personality?
I'm resilient and I can adapt very well. Like, put me somewhere. I think that makes it easy to teach because like I could work at a school where I didn't know anybody and the kids, and I kind of like read the energy and I'm like, okay, so this is, I get what you guys are feeling here. And so let me adapt instead of like be a total outsider.
I got you. Was there ever like, have you moved around a lot, or you pretty much been California?
I mean, I guess a lot. Like I was born in Iowa, and then my parents divorced and my mom and I moved to San Diego when I was like 8. We moved in different like neighborhoods there, and in every school, I mean, basically in a lot of places, like I was definitely the minority. And then in other places it was like, okay, now I'm the majority, but I'm like the high school I went to was a lot of like rich white kids, and I just happened to live in some like apartments in the area. So, but anyway, what are we talking about? Adaptability. I moved. Yeah. I also lived in Georgia from 17 to 19, and then came back. So I was like, okay, South isn't ready for me. But
I got you.
Yeah, and then moved to San Francisco when I was 30-ish. So yeah.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, that it sounds like you've been in a lot of different places, especially I haven't been to the South. And I want to do a road trip around the U.S. At some point, visit every like small nook and cranny kind of thing. But a lot of people tell me to beware of the South, because as much of, I'm an open person, I like getting to know people. Not everybody's like that everywhere in the U.S., unfortunately. So that I need to watch my back if I do end up doing that road trip. Would you say that warning is true, or I should think about it?
I think that, I think.
Can love win? Can love win in every?
But I think, people are going to judge you based on what you look like. And when you get to rural areas where there's just white people, they're going to be like, oh, who's this guy? And, but I don't know. I think that you have some Filipino ancestry. Is that what you shared with me, I think?
Yeah, I am 100% Filipino.
Okay, then there you go. So I would think, like, if you went to Alabama, I doubt if anyone's maybe seen someone who's Filipino, unless you are in like a large city, like
Gotcha.
Any city. So if you stay in the cities, you'll be fine. But if you're, I think a road trip would be like the funnest way to experience like, and as a kid, I went on a lot of road trips with my dad, and also just like having relatives in different areas. It's like, I know I can go to the South and like people would hear me talk to my mom, and then they'd look at my mom and they'd be like, why do you let your daughter talk to you that way? And it's like, she said, oh, she's from California. And then everybody'd be like, oh, okay. Like literally that is exactly what they would say. I mean, it's just different. And I would get mad, like if somebody said something like, I don't know why you let your daughter cuss. Like we were literally at a Waffle House, my mom and my stepdad and I. They lived in Alabama for a very long time until they passed. So just remember, really people would feel like speaking up and saying shit. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? Literally, like, this was probably, I was 40 when this actually happened. And I was just like, sir, I'm 40, and like, no thanks, we didn't ask. So
I got you.
My mom was just like, that's my fucking daughter. What are you going to do? But anyway,
I wish.
It depends where you go.
I really hope I get those experiences, because I feel like that's a conversation starter, and then hopefully they're open to having a conversation about different perspectives. But yeah,
I would think that would be awesome. Like if you take this show on the road and you sit down, oh my God, like that'd be awesome to get somebody who like my parents are no longer living, but like they went to segregated schools, there's so much that we only get to read about, especially out here on the West Coast, but it's like shit wasn't that long ago. So
yeah, maybe one day. That's part of the path, hopefully at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's move on to the icebreakers. But before we do that, I gotta do my little plug. If all the folks out there are enjoying the conversation, please like if you might, share if you care, subscribe for a vibe you didn't know was there.
That's the best thing I've ever heard.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, nice work.
Here is our stage for the icebreakers. This first one is basically, a point of view kind of thing. I'm going to give you a statement. You just let me know if you agree, disagree, or your thoughts on it. Which, curious about this first one, which is overthinking is a bad thing. You agree, disagree? How you feel about that?
Agree. Just sometimes you have to just like let it go and like, all right, whatever.
Has it ever been a positive thing for you?
No, because
Oh.
I remember before properly like medicated, I would have periods where I'd have a lot of like ability to like super focus on certain projects that I had, but they really never turned into anything. But it was just like I would get into like certain issues. Like I remember I heard, I don't know if you were born yet, but so I was working in schools as like a, a paraeducator, teacher's assistant for like ever since I was 19. So I don't know, it was when like Nas's song, like I know I can, be
Oh
whatever.
yeah, I was definitely born. Yeah.
Okay. So I was like, wow, okay, this is like driving me to, I want to, I remember I was thinking, and it kind of gets like with bipolar disorder, you can kind of get thinking, like you're just thinking too much and in almost like a kind of grandiose way. And I was like, I need to have Nas come and play at this middle school I work at because this really touched kids and this is an important message, and then I'll like look it up all night. Didn't even have the internet.
Oh yeah.
Maybe. I know I had like that first iMac, but anyway, or just really get interested in something and then just get exhausted and then, like that idea is gone and then another one comes up that exhausts. But, I don't have that now, but I do think if I worry or if I like overanalyze a situation that causes me worry, like if I go, why is it that this person, we went on a date and, he said he'd want to hang out later, but then he never texted. It's like, fuck it, I'm not going to think about that. I'm just going to be and good. Now I don't have to worry about pretending I know how to cook. So
I got you. This one is just, interesting to me because I feel like I'm an overthinker. And I guess in my mind, I try to justify it as being a positive thing. Like, yeah, I get to see all these different ways different outcomes based on a problem or situation, which makes me feel prepared, but also very stagnant. Or I'm very slow to make a decision. I'm very like try to be calculative, or I don't know if that's a word. Sounds legit. But yeah, I mean, even today, like in my life, I do have those moments where I feel like I'm super hyper focused into a certain project. Like let's say this podcast, right? At the time I was creating it, I was very into it. And then like at this point, after a year and a half or so of doing it, I'm trying to find this balance because I'm really driven in like my day job. But because I feel like I've been slowing down with the podcast a little bit or trying to find some kind of balance. And I'm afraid that I will lose the energy and the time to continue doing this, even though it is something I really love to do. But it's because in the past, Hella Hungry was one of those projects for me too.
I had no idea what that was, but yes, like there's a student of ours that still has that fanny pack.
Oh, the fanny pack.
I have a patch. Yeah, I have a patch on my fridge.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, speaking of that, like the next thing, big idea project, I want to turn Hella Hungry into like a foundation where I'm pretty much going to turn it into a nonprofit, and hopefully half proceeds are donated to the school of the student that I want. How like in middle schools they be selling cookie dough and like
or like candy bars and magazines and shit.
I'm saying fuck that shit. Like I don't want that money going to a big corporation that's using kids to push the product. But I want Hella Hungry to be the product that the kids push, so then they get hooked up with free merch. They get hooked up. Like half the proceeds go to the school and the other half hopefully would go into a stipend or scholarship fund that they can access when they turn 18. But yeah, so cross my fingers, hopefully that juice or that, that hyper focus doesn't go away. But yeah, all these things, because after I went through the process of like trying to get the, right legal paperwork in, after that was all done, now I'm stuck. I'm like, what am I gonna do now? Like I'm not sure which way to go. But I think for me, it's in the past it used to always be I need to do this now within this year, but now it's like, okay, I'm just trying to set up things for the rest of my life, and hopefully I can create these things.
I'm fucking jealous of you because like I literally like we just watched a CNN 10 in class, and this one kid over the pandemic had decided to like work with, you know, farmers who end up having to like dump a lot of their surplus inventory. This guy worked with his friend in college, and now they've turned it into like a nonprofit where they like make it a food bank. They go around and collect, you know, in certain areas. And like being from Iowa, I'm just like, yeah, farms, you know? So I was like, how the fuck did that kid do that? And what am I doing with my life? And then one of the kids was like, I don't know, you teach. I'm like, you're right, guys. But I mean, just like for anybody to have that drive and focus and make something like that happen, to me, it seems like really exhausting. So I think, you know, there's a thing with like age. It's like, okay, my passion went away with my 20s, but you know, at least I know what the fuck I want to do currently.
I mean,
yeah, like I say, go for it. If you have, I mean, that's like, you know, visions are great, like goals. And I think I got worn out and just said, okay, I have like 2 goals right now, and then made them, and now I'm good, you know. I'm just
for sure.
chill.
I'm sure there's going to be something next. It's just, you know, you haven't figured it out just yet. That's what Hella Hungry is all about. No matter, you know, if you feel like you're satisfied, that hunger always comes back. There's always something more that you're going to want to do.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just the food part, but, you know, just a life philosophy. But no, thank you for the kind words. I mean, my biggest concern, I would say, is that I just hope I don't get to a point where it feels like right now, it feels like it's a intrinsic drive and it feels good. I'm afraid that at a certain point it might turn into desperation, and I don't want to get to that point where I feel like, oh, I need to shoot these big shots because this is the only way that I can be validated, and getting validation from myself, you know. You know, I was one of those kids. I mean, I lived in that era of like people telling you, oh, you're gifted or you're smart or like you're gonna do big things, and I'm really, you know, just a regular guy, and you know, just coming to terms with that, just like, this is not what people said I was going to become, but, you know, really be happy with everything else. So yeah, so for me, I just don't want to get to that point of like feeling like, okay, this is my last shot, because I don't think it ever really is. I think if all else fails, Miss Carrie, you're gonna see me at like 50, 60 years old trying to go to Hollywood, become an actor or something, because I think I think I play those roles better than a young person.
You know what? I mean, I have to say, like, just, I think you'll end up, I think I did at least, you know, appreciating like just where you are exactly at and how you relate to people. And also, I mean, like, I'm really impressed with the way that you can relate to pissed off kids, you know? Pissed off kids are a tough crowd. So,
for sure.
yeah, I mean, you know, you just have a way. Oh, and okay. Oh my gosh. So, you remember how you give us shout outs and like stuff? I don't know. I'm just you were definitely like a vibe that Edgewood needed, like right then and there. And one of the students was like, Miss Carrie, do you need a Xanax? Because it's like a Jan and a Xanax together.
That's hilarious.
Like, yeah, we should get Jan in here, you know? Yeah. I mean, anyways, you have a vibe. You influence people already. So, you know, if you need to have it like on a poster or, you know, a certificate, that's fine. But it's already happening. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, I try not to seek it, even though I feel like that's something people need, is like, you know, just affirmations and people telling you like, oh, you're doing it. But yeah, it's a trip, because, you know, I do hear it from other folks, and I'm just thinking to myself like, I don't know what's happening, and I don't know like how I'm coming off, but that's what makes me appreciative of my time at Edgewood, and like a lot of the places that make me feel like, oh, we see you, just be who you are and it's gonna work out. And yeah, I think, you know, with the team there at Edgewood, I felt seen, you know, I felt supported. So it's definitely a good place to be at the time for myself too. Yeah, a lot of experiences, and you know, work that one-on-one with the kids, for me at least, that was like my role, was very man, it gave me some great skills that I use now in my life now. But yeah, let's move on with the the interview.
Sure,
here. This next one is a word for word association.
Okay.
You got 34 seconds to do as many as you can, but also, don't worry about it. The record is 12, which that guy was like saying whatever. He didn't really care about the association. So here we go. Let me know when you're ready. I'm gonna press start and give you the first word.
Okay, I just shout out what I think. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
People.
A lot.
Food.
I love it.
Life.
It happens.
Art.
Why not?
Music.
Yeah.
Present.
Present is great.
Knowledge.
This isn't just one word, right? I could say a couple things.
Oh, yeah,
All
yeah.
right, whatever. Knowledge is
Say that one more time. The gong went off at the same time.
that highest, like, I don't know, like a currency that will be most useful to you. I don't know. Try to get a little poetic, but
Hey,
that's all I got.
That sounds poetic to me. So one thing I wanted to ask you about, just to dig a little deeper, you said when I said people, you said a lot. What do you mean by that?
People can just be a lot. I don't know. Like, I'm just thinking, of all the people that I've met, some people are a lot. Not like by, quantity, but like the more people I think you're involved with, the more kind of bullshit you're gonna run into. So it's better to just have some, close friends than a lot of acquaintances, because I think it's easy to get wrapped up in like all the drama, I guess.
Let me ask you this: Why are people bullshitters? Like, why are they always bullshitting?
Because I think it's just motivations. Like people think, oh well, I want to come across this way, or I feel like I should be this way, and it's funny to me when like people think that like I'm abnormal. I'm just like, what are you talking about? I'm just chilling, and they're like, oh my gosh, wow. And it's like, it seems like they're trying to hold themselves to a certain standard, but like, who cares? Because it's not like you're going to get a ticket from like the police if you don't meet a certain standard. So
no, I feel you. I'm almost thinking like they did a lot of folks for whatever reason, or I don't know what the reason is, but I'd be thinking that like the way I interact with folks, or at least dealing with kids, and you talked about kids who are pissed off, I think my whole approach is just to tell them you're good, like you're fine, you're all right, like you feeling these emotions or whatever, but like you're still fine, like everything's all right. So in my mind, when I see somebody bullshit, and I've never done it, I never call people out and stuff, but in the back of my head, I'm like, I don't know if this is real or true, or if you just flexing real hard right now. I don't know if you noticed this. Someone had told me that what they noticed, a lot of folks almost are like trying to show what value they can bring into your life, like all the time. It's like, oh, this is what I can do for you, or this is what I can bring into your life. And I don't know if that's true for you and in the people that you've encountered, but for me, I feel like it's not so much what I can do for you, but more like, this is what I've done and what have you done. Like I feel like that always gets thrown at me. But yeah, I think like in certain circles, there's definitely kind of that, like I'm so far from those circles at this point, and I'm just like, whatever. But I mean, it makes sense. I think most people, I think when I think of like bullshitters, they're just afraid to be, they're just afraid to be who they are. And I feel bad because, I mean, I don't feel bad for me. I feel bad for them because it's like,
it would suck to feel like you had to like live in a certain way to impress others or whatever. It's just like,
Yeah.
nobody got time for that, you know? It's just like, do your thing. And I don't know, hopefully that makes sense.
It does to me. It does to me. Yeah, I mean, for me in the Philippines, that's something I've noticed. And I don't want to bash the Philippines or anything, but being judgmental, like trying to compete and one up each other, it happens a lot out there. And I'm thankful that my parents are understanding enough of me, because I don't think that way. I don't want to think that way. And I've seen their growth as parents too, because I remember being a kid, it would always be like, why can't you be more like this or that, or why can't you do this? And then now it's like, oh, you're fine. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Like,
you're not in jail. You're not pregnant. That's, I guess, what I heard. So.
I've heard that too. So, but yeah, I just want to give you a heads up, Miss Carrie. We got about 15 minutes left in this interview, which is fine. I hope you've been enjoying the conversation.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm glad. I am too. But I think we got time for a couple spins on the wheel. So let me pull that up right now. And then here we go. And as a reminder, if there's any question that's too deep or too personal, you don't want to talk about it, feel free to pass.
All right.
The first number is 24. And this question is, would you want us to pull the plug? Like if it was in a situation where, yes.
If I weren't able to be like, I mean, I think if my brain weren't able to like put forth the usual, I guess, you know, if I weren't able, I mean, I guess like, okay, don't pull it if I'm still like aware, you know, and like maybe if I can't talk or something, I'll write or I'll learn like sign language. I don't know. But if I was technically like on like life support or something, then just save the electricity. I'm good. Yeah, but I mean, I think technically like people are afraid of death because it's like they're afraid of the loss, you know. I've at least learned that. Like my mom, like she was on dialysis for several years, and then finally she decided, okay, I'm tired of this shit, you know, and it's like a pain in the ass. And so I was like, okay, are you sure? Go with this one. Sorry, I'm being offered an adult beverage choices, but by another teacher. So anyway, I realized that sometimes the only people that are afraid of death are the people that are going to be left behind, you know? So if I'm already out, I'm good.
I got you. I think I feel like this question depends on where a person is in their life. But yeah, no, I got you, Miss Carrie. I definitely understand. I think for me, similar sense, you know, I'm just like, don't waste a lot of emotion, time, and energy on somebody that's probably, you know, going to be quiet and just be there, existing, but not really living. In a similar vein, my follow-up question is, you feel like you've lived a full life so far?
I think I would only say this like in the past couple of years, you know, like I certainly don't want to like, you know, leave anytime soon, but I'm happy with where I've been, who I've been, what I've done, and I'd like to do more. I'd like to eventually maybe be like a foster mom. I don't know if I have fucking patience for that, honestly. Like, but I feel like, you know, helping people in need is like what I, you know, dig. Yeah. And I think my thought is if eventually I don't live with 100 people in San Francisco, you know, or like if I happen to find a partner that's worthwhile, then, you know, if they're open to like maybe, you know, kind of being a foster home for kids that are, aging out of the foster system, like, 16, 17-year-olds that, are not going to be adopted, but still don't have like a secure home. I met a lot of those kids at, in teaching high school, and, I just feel like I can't deal with any infants. I don't need to have any kids.
I hear
but
you.
I sure would like to help other kids. So yeah, I'll feel like I've lived a full life maybe when I've had some troubled foster kids come through and like steal shit from me. But, I'll give them the respect that they deserve, and maybe they'll give my shit back. So
I feel you. No, I've had the same idea, honestly. If I was ever that person who became a millionaire or whatever, I just had the means to do it, I would love to adopt like 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, and just tell them the reality. Like, I know you've had a shitty ass experience up to this point, but I just want to be able to give you a place that you feel secure in, feel supported, and kind of like just given a shot. And it won't be long, maybe a year or two here in this house, but at least just knowing that maybe like someone believes in you, someone wants to see you do well. Because I've worked with foster kids, maybe not to the extent where they like opened up to me about how they really felt about life, but I can't imagine what it'd be like to be in that situation, just going from place to place and not getting picked up. I feel like that's a huge deal for kids in foster care. It's like looking forward to meeting different people, hopefully getting, the call like, oh, we want you to be a part of our family. Like, that's crazy to me, like to think that kids have to go through that. So yeah, giving them an opportunity, that'd be very interesting. I don't know if there's a system for that already, like for people like us who want to do that, and and get connected with kids who are at that point of like, okay, well, you're about to go into the real world. If anything, it's like a really good.
There is though. There is like, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people who are foster parents or run foster homes because it pays the rent. And I've certainly heard about this from actual kids who are in foster placement. And I mean, basically just low-key being somewhat of a teacher at home is all like it requires. And it's like, if I'm comfortable enough to where I could feed, I could like raise a kid or two. Look, I'm not gonna pay for college, because if they're still in the foster system, they can get college paid for by the state of California up until they're 22. So, I'm benefits that they have up to the age of 22. So that's why I'd be like, I don't need to adopt you, because, you're gonna have more benefits not being adopted by me, frankly, because I don't have shit. But I just there's definitely a need, because kids age out. They can still stay in foster care at 18, but it's difficult. Yeah. But if they want, they can be foster youth up until they're 22. But, not a lot of people want to have roommates, that are young adults that, aren't really
party
right, or haven't had like, a stable upbringing. Like, I don't want a roommate who's no, it's the active attachment syndrome. So yeah,
we talk about it like it's easy, but I'm sure there's challenges too.
It's just I've worked with a lot of social workers through the foster youth system, and they're just like, you'd be great. Just all you have to do is like go through the application process. They come, they check out your home, they check out this, they make sure that like you're able to supervise whatever, blah, blah, blah. So, hey, anybody out there who's like bored and doesn't want to have like a young kid, just, get a roomie.
Yeah. And you change your life at the same time.
Exactly. They'll like,
I like to think that, the work we do would help change their lives. But, everybody's their own person. Depending on who that person is, they could be taking different life lessons and experiences from you. But nah, I got you. I think I want to almost push for one more wheel spin, just because.
Do it.
Yeah, here we go. All All right, you went from 24 to 25. So 25 is, what would you say are your distractions, or what you consider would be a distraction?
Comfort, I think.
I got you.
I'm thinking that I'm answering this properly, and like what keeps me from, moving forward, or what like gets me off track. And my thought is like, just being like, what keeps me from going to the gym? Well, it's like I have to be out there in lights in front of a bunch of people, and I'm tired when I get home, and I know it'd be great to do, but like I just like to decompress at home on the couch, shooting the shit with one of my roommates, feeding my cats, and then maybe getting under the covers and watching The Bachelorette. I got you. So anyway, if that's what you mean.
No, I that's what I meant. And that's a good way to put it, because when I think about it, comfort is definitely one of my biggest distractions, and I've been comfortable for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I'm just like, do I really need it? Okay.
Yeah. Eventually though, like, I don't know what, like, I listened to an interview recently, and it was like, you don't know rock bottom until you actually have to do something about it. Like, a lot of people say they're at rock bottom, but it's like, okay, what? Have you changed? Have you done anything different? But if you haven't, that means you haven't really been there yet. And I think that's the case for me, honestly. Like, I don't think I've thought I was, and then I really wasn't. And yeah, so I hope I never have to get to that point to actually kick my ass into like some kind of motivation or shape. But yeah, it's a trip that it works that way. And my major was recreation and leisure studies. So the big, like, people ask me all the time, like, what you learn? I'm like, I learned how to relax, how to stay comfortable. And
I love it. I wish I had a major in that, or I feel like I can teach a course even.
No, for sure. And class of 2013 Long Beach, man, you got like my classmates at the time. It felt like we were all there, and personalities were very what's the word? They vibed well, and I think is because we were folks that did recreation and leisure studies at the time. But yeah. All right, Miss K, we're gonna head over to the closeout questions at this point. But before we do that, I have a quick exercise for you. It's called the 34th mantra. I'm gonna give you 3 phrases to fill in the blanks. So it's I am, I can, I will. I am blank, I can blank, I will blank. And don't worry, when I switch you over to the other screen, it'll be written in words too, so you can remember.
Okay.
But it's probably the most, I guess, nerve-wracking part of the show, because you will be talking to yourself. It'll be like a mirror image of you, just you. And this is like a message that's from you to you. So let me know when you're ready, so I don't, give you that like awkward silence phase of like trying to figure out what you want to say. But yeah.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Go for it.
Oh, look, there's little notes. Okay. I am enough, and I can be myself. I will keep on keeping on.
I got you, Miss Carrie. And yeah, if you ever need a reminder, you got this little soundbite of you telling you that you are enough.
I love it.
Yeah. And then moving on to our closeout questions. This next question is from DJ Mosconi. Shout out to DJ Mosconi. Her question for you is kind of like similar to the distraction thing. But if you want to just answer the second part, feel free. It's what makes you inconsistent, and how would you overcome that permanently? Overcome inconsistency permanently. I know this was hard for me.
What makes me inconsistent is, well, I'm thinking actually like in teaching, because that's what I do every day. I think lack of willpower I don't have self-discipline, like, I guess because parenting, I didn't have a lot of parenting in my early years. Just, someone who was present. So yeah, I've gone back to my maybe adolescence where, I had to be an adult as a kid, and now I'm just like, whatever. So I'm thinking like stuff with like lesson planning and, having like new ideas and stuff to like, teach new concepts. Sometimes I'm just like, I'll just go with what I know, because I don't feel like doing anything that's outside my comfort zone today.
I feel it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's any way to overcome that, like, permanently? I know it's hard because I was asked the same question and I didn't know how to answer it. I was like, permanently? I don't know. I feel like that's to be determined kind of thing.
I think just time management. Like if I were able to carve out time where it's like, this is the time where I focus on just this. And then after that, like if I gave myself like a power hour or something, daily or weekly. I used to make a schedule. It was like life management, which meant like pay fucking bills, clean up the room, wash the dishes, and after that you could sit down. So, but there's medication for that and I am on it. So yes, bringing back like focus and, willpower. Yeah.
I got you. My second to last question for you is, what would you like to ask the next guest on 34 Questions?
I would say, what did you need from adults as a child that you didn't get, and how to offer that now to yourself?
Ooh, snap. So I'm saying, what did you need from adults as a child, and how would you offer that now?
To yourself, yeah.
Ooh. So I'd like to answer this last question.
Yeah.
So what did I need from adults as a child? I love my parents. I think they tried the best that they could, and with what they had worked with at the time. I don't know. I feel like I needed to be exposed to more resources. I think that is something that a lot of immigrant families aren't, up to game on when they move here. So like, us working in schools now, it feels like we see all the resources all the time, and like we try to get kids to use them, but they're like, I don't know, like it's free money, yo, like go get that.
Right.
But yeah, so I think that's what I would have wanted from adults back then, is like, okay, like we see that maybe your family isn't as educated on what's available to you. But yeah, like I don't think my folks went out there. I don't think there's a lot of folks that came in and tried to do that. In high school, I would say more so, but definitely middle school, not so much. And I had folks in high school who did try to push me in certain directions, but for whatever reason, I was like, I'm fine. I got good grades. I'm not like, scholarships are gonna come at me, and they never did. I took out loans because I didn't really apply. So yeah, I wish someone probably would have drilled it in my head, like apply for these scholarships, because it doesn't matter if you have good grades if you're not gonna fucking do these applications. Like
exactly, yeah. Those teachers know. So
yeah. And how would I offer that to myself now? I think now as an adult, it's like, what's my excuse? I should be in charge of my own thing. I shouldn't be waiting for anyone to tell me like, oh, this is available to you. Like, we were talking about that kid who started their thing during COVID and, doing these great things. It's like the information's out there. I should be able to, look up any question that I have and be able to do it. Like starting the nonprofit thing. It's like,
yeah,
I shouldn't have to wait. Like, even though people are telling me to take my time, it's like I could just look it up and continue with the steps, and hopefully I get there, kind of thing. But yeah, I think for myself, that's how I would try to offer that is to be more think about that time where no one told me to apply for scholarships, and kind of apply that to now where I need to be applying for grants or whatever for the business. But yeah, so I think that would be my answer for that.
Yeah, like find the resources, they're out there. You got this.
Yeah, thank you, Miss Carrie.
Yeah.
And then no, really, like this question probably every time, I don't know for you, sometimes I feel like maturing and growing up, it feels like being reminded of stuff you feel like you should have already known, and you're just like, God damn it, like why did I forget, or why didn't I like change my ways? It's like
Totally.
Like, which is a weird feeling. I don't know if that's how everybody feels about growing up, but yeah, my last question for you, that ties everything together, what this podcast is about. 100, 200, 300 years from now, your descendants are watching this video. What would you like to tell them?
Wow, I made descendants. Congrats. I did it. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. You come from strong stock, and even if you have an alternative brain, it's just going to help you see the world in a more empathetic way. You're going to be able to relate to a lot of people that you didn't think you would be able to. So like, use your out of the box brain power, to be there for the greater good. Yeah.
I got you. And as far as descendants go, like, I think there's a lot of folks that aren't sure about, having kids and seeing that happen for them. But I like to think that, whoever is in their future is like, our society is their ancestors, regardless of like whether or not it's kids coming from us or not. Like how we are the descendants of our ancestors way back, because at some point there was not this many people on Earth, right? And like,
yeah, it's true.
So I think that's going to hold true as time goes on. And I think, our perspectives are going to be important for them. Like maybe they might not know you personally at all, but for some reason they connect with you or relate to you because of your experiences and who you are as a person. But yeah, any last things you'd like to add before we head out, Miss Carrie?
Well, I wish that you were around like 50 years ago so that I could watch this of my ancestors, because that would be really cool. Maybe ask a couple questions of your people before they're no longer here.
Got you. Yeah, I definitely feel like I did one episode, one with mom, one with dad.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they were there in the beginning. If you ever go to the beginning parts, there's one with my homie, and then the first two episodes were with my parents. But yeah, I feel like I should be doing that more often, and like, having more of their story recorded instead of just like 1 hour video. But yeah, now thank you for the reminder, and maybe that's gonna give me enough juice to just like say, let's do it. But yeah, I want to thank you again, Miss Carrie, for stopping by. This was hella fun. I hope you had fun with it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I want to thank all the folks out there. If you're listening, remember to reach out, reach forward. As always, much love. And we'll catch you guys next time on 34 Questions. Peace. And it fades from there.